Today I want to talk to you a little bit about what tie cords are, how you can use them, and how you can anchor them. So first off, we have just your standard tie cord. This is the hitch. It slips on above the spur on a bird. If you have a spurred hen, you can use it. There's a swivel here, helps keep it from getting tangled up. And finally, you have another swivel at the end where you will be anchoring your tie cord. This tie cord is 6 foot. Originally it was 8 foot, and I cut them down to a smaller size. Now, what can you use a tie cord for? Well, there's all kinds of things. I like to use them for my show birds. It's a cheap and effective way to give maximum amount of space per bird, and also it makes it super easy to walk by and handle the birds. You're not having to pull them in and out of pens where you can risk damaging their feathers, that sort of thing. You got a 6 foot cord here, which equates to a 12-foot circle per bird. You can use this in conjunction with any number of sheltering options, plastic barrels being the most common. A lot of people have kind of a stigma around these because they are associated with cockfighting. And I will tell you that although that's where they do originate from, the show exhibitor could definitely benefit from using these, in my opinion, especially if you have continental or Mediterranean type breeds. Now, feather leg breeds I wouldn't recommend because you're going to run the risk of damaging the leg feathering with this cord. Not only that, but the number of manufacturers who make these are usually small operations, guys in their backyard, that sort of thing. And they're not going to be accustomed to making these hitches for thicker legs. It's wise to tell them what breed you're using and how big around their legs are so they can adjust accordingly. Now, there's a lot of different ways that people will attach these. The way that I've found works best for me is to anchor them in the ground. And when I bought these, by the way, I bought these several years ago, and they're still holding up. So they're a worthwhile investment. It cost me, at the time, $55 for 24 of them. And keep in mind, again, you're giving each bird a 12-foot circle to itself. But when I first got them, they came with these metal stakes. They didn't have the concrete on them, they didn't have that ring in it. So what I did is I bought some of these rings, stuck it in here, put it in a vise, clamped it shut, and tack welded it. And then I filled a solo cup with some concrete, bagged concrete, and made an anchor. What you do is you take a pair of post hole diggers, dig it down so that it's buried up to right about there above the surface, because then this ring can still operate, and that's what you're going to attach this swivel to through the use of a quick link, which I don't have one here, but basically it's a screw-on chain link is what it boils down to. You want to tighten that down with a pair of pliers and a screwdriver. Now, the problem I've had with these is if you don't get it buried down all the way, or the bird digs it out around it, you're going to start getting your cord wrapped around here and hung up, and it can actually bind, and then it shortens the cord. And if you're, working late hours and it's hot out in the middle of summer, you could end up with a couple of dead birds because of it if your water ends up becoming out of reach. So I'm setting up my new yard for these cords at the new place, and this is what I've switched to. I'm using pieces of rebar remnant. I'm still going to use the old ones just because I can, but since I'm expanding it, I decided to try something new. And this is what I come up with. So again, just some concrete, piece of rebar, and then I took a chunk of chain, cut 2 links off it, welded it, gave it a little spray paint, just keep it from rusting. And again, I'm going to be burying it up to about this point. And this combined with the quick link, I feel will be a lot less prone to binding because it's a long oblong shape. It's not as large as these rings, and so I feel that the cord itself will just slip over and it can still articulate in various directions. If you work in construction, just keep a couple empty Gatorade bottles handy. There's usually some leftover concrete and a couple scraps of rebar. Just stab them in while you're there, and then you can always weld the links on when you go home. But there you go. Hope that sheds some light on these cords, and I hope it encourages more people in the exhibition poultry world to give them a try. So if you like our videos, be sure to subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Thank you.